Dr. Zixara brushed the dust away from the metal surface with her 6 delicate fingers. The vault had been buried here for 40,000 years, waiting in the ruins of a dead city on a dead world. She was a Velnari, and her people were famous across the galaxy for finding secrets in old places. But this secret made her scales turn cold. The data vault hummed to life when she touched it. Blue light filled the dark chamber. Symbols appeared in the air, spinning and changing. The message repeated in every language the vault knew. Hundreds of languages, thousands, all saying the same thing. The sleepers of Sol 3 are not what they seem. They wait, they watch. They remember. Zixara's team gathered around her. Krell, her assistant, tilted his head. Sol 3? That's Earth, isn't it? The primitive world in the protected zone? Yes, Zixara said slowly. She felt something twist in her stomach. Fear, maybe, or excitement. But why would the predecessors warn us about Earth? They died out 40,000 years ago. Earth had nothing back then. Just animals and early humans living in caves. She copied the data and took it back to her ship. For 3 days she barely slept. She searched through every database she could access. Ancient records, classified files, archaeological reports from 100 different worlds. And she found something impossible. The predecessors were not the first to leave warnings about Earth. The Kixtal Empire had vanished 2 million years ago. They had been powerful, building ships that could crack planets like eggs. In their final archive found on their homeworld there was a warning: do not approach the third world of the Yellow Sun. They are not what they appear. We learned too late. 800,000 years ago, the Harmonics had ruled 50 star systems. They were masters of genetics and biology. They disappeared in less than a century. Their last message, carved into a moon: we tried to improve them. They improved us instead. We are no longer ourselves. The Vren Collective, gone for 150,000 years. The Kethrians, the Dross Unity, the Silent Monks of Andromeda. Every great civilization that had died out left similar warnings, all pointing to the same small blue world. Earth. Zixara stared at her screens in the quiet of her ship. Earth was a nothing world. Everyone knew that. The humans there were classified as primitive. They had destroyed themselves in wars 600 years ago and went silent. No radio signals, no space travel, no response to contact attempts. The Galactic Council had marked the Sol system as off-limits, giving the humans time to recover or die out naturally. But what if everyone was wrong? She pulled up star charts that were millions of years old. She traced navigation routes used by extinct species. Her blood ran cold when she saw the pattern. Every extinct race had sent ships to Earth. Multiple ships. Dozens sometimes. According to the old records, none of those ships ever came back. Not destroyed. Not crashed. Just gone. Silent. This can't be right, she whispered to herself. She checked the modern data next. The Galactic Council had sent automated probes toward Sol over the past 600 years. 17 probes. All of them stopped transmitting when they reached the edge of the solar system. The Council blamed it on old equipment or random technical failures. 17 technical failures, all in the same location. Zixara made her decision. She prepared her findings into a report and requested an emergency meeting with the Galactic Council. They would think she was crazy. They would laugh at her. But she had to tell someone Earth was not sleeping. Earth was hiding, and every race that had discovered the truth was now extinct. The Council station floated in the neutral zone between 3 major empires. Zixara's ship docked, and she felt her legs shake as she walked through the corridors. She had never been this nervous before. She was a scientist. She dealt with dead things, old things, safe things. This was different. This felt dangerous. The council chamber was huge, with seats arranged in circles going up toward the ceiling. Representatives from 40 species sat in those seats. Some had scales like her. Some had fur. Some were just clouds of gas in special containers. They all turned to look at her when she entered. Dr. Zixara, the council speaker said. His voice was deep and tired. You requested this emergency session. You claim to have found evidence of a galactic-level threat. Please present your findings. She activated her holo display. Images of dead worlds appeared in the center of the chamber. Warnings in ancient languages. Star charts. Data streams showing the probe failures. Honored Council, she began, trying to keep her voice steady. I have discovered a pattern in the archaeological record. Every major extinction event of a spacefaring species in the past 3 million years shares a common element. All of these extinct races visited Earth shortly before they disappeared. Silence filled the chamber. Then someone laughed. Others joined in. Earth? A representative from the Korthan Empire said, his voice full of amusement. The primitive world? Doctor, with respect, you're seeing patterns that don't exist. I thought the same thing, Zixara said. She changed the display. But look at the data. The Kixtel sent 43 ships to Earth. None returned. The Harmonic sent 62. None returned. The pattern repeats across every extinct civilization. Coincidence, another representative said. Or the ship simply crashed or malfunctioned. Every single one. Zixara challenged. And what about the warnings they left? All saying the same thing. A new voice spoke from the military section of the chamber. She may have a point. Admiral Court stood up. He was Kathresh, tall and covered in armored plates. His species ran the second largest military in the galaxy. When he spoke, people listened. I have access to classified military intelligence, Court said. We have sent reconnaissance drones toward the Sol system 47 times in the past 600 years. Every drone stops transmitting at the edge of their system. Our analysts blame technical issues. But 47 failures? That's not coincidence. That's something else. The laughter stopped. The chamber grew quiet. Court walked down to stand beside Zixara. I propose we investigate. A small fleet. Observe only. Find out what happened to Earth and why these extinctions connect to them. Earth is protected by council law, the speaker said. Then we observe from outside their system. Court replied. We break no laws. But we need to know the truth. The council argued for hours. Finally, they voted. Court got his mission, but with restrictions. Small fleet. Stay outside the Sol system. No contact with Earth, no weapons. Observation only. Zixara was assigned to the mission as the science lead. As she left the chamber, Court walked beside her. You believe they're dangerous, she said quietly. I believe they're hiding, Court replied, and anything that has stayed hidden for this long, while entire civilizations fell around them, is either very lucky or very dangerous. I don't believe in luck. The fleet assembled in 3 days, 5 ships, small crews, the best sensors available. They jumped into hyperspace heading for the Sol system. None of them knew they were already being watched. None of them knew Earth had been expecting visitors eventually, and none of them knew that humanity had learned long ago that the best defense was to appear defenseless. Earth had been pretending to sleep for 600 years. But humanity never truly slept. They waited. They watched. And they remembered every species that had ever threatened them. The fleet was coming. And humanity was ready. The journey to Sol took 3 weeks in hyperspace. Zixara spent most of that time reviewing data in her cabin. Admiral Court visited her every few days to check on her progress. She was finding more than she wanted to find. Look at this, she said, showing him a timeline on her screen. Every 70,000 years, give or take, a dominant civilization vanishes. Not slowly, quickly, within a few generations. Court leaned closer to the screen. His armored plates clicked together. I see the pattern. But what causes it? That's what scares me, Zixara said. She pulled up another file. Each extinction happens right after that civilization shows increased interest in Earth. More ships, more probes, more observation, then nothing, they're gone. You think Earth is killing them? I think Earth is defending itself. But from what the old records show, Earth should not be able to do that. They're primitive. Or they were. 600 years ago, they were launching chemical rockets and fighting wars with metal bullets. Court made a sound in his throat that meant he was thinking. What changed 600 years ago? Why did Earth go silent? Zixara had been wondering the same thing. She had one of her team members search the databases for that exact information. The answer came back an hour later, and it made her scales prickle. 600 years ago, humanity achieved quantum entanglement communication. They could send messages instantly across any distance without using radio waves. 1 month after that breakthrough, every single radio transmission from Earth stopped. They didn't go silent, Zixara said, showing Court the data. They evolved past the technology we could detect. They're still talking. We just can't hear them anymore. Court was quiet for a long time. That means they've had 600 years of development that we know nothing about. 600 years of building, learning, growing, and we thought they were dead or primitive. Exactly. The fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Immediately, every sensor went active. The crew members worked quickly, gathering data, watching for threats. Zixara stood on the bridge of Court's flagship, staring at the screens. Sol was a yellow star, ordinary and unremarkable. 9 planets orbited it. The third one was Earth, a blue and green jewel covered in clouds. I'm not detecting any ships, the sensor officer reported. No satellites. No space stations. Nothing artificial in orbit around any planet. What about the Oort cloud? Court asked. The sensor officer worked his controls. Then he stopped. His face changed color. Admiral, you need to see this. The main screen changed to show the outer edge of the solar system. The Oort cloud should have been random chunks of ice and rock, scattered in chaos. But it wasn't random. The objects were arranged in patterns. Mathematical patterns. Formations that looked almost like letters, numbers, some kind of code written in ice across billions of kilometers. That's not natural, Zixara whispered. How long has it been like that? Court demanded. The sensor officer checked the records. The last good scan of this area was 80,000 years ago. The formation was already there. 80,000 years. The objects in the Oort cloud had been arranged that way for 80,000 years, and no one had noticed. Or no one who noticed survived to tell anyone. Admiral, another crew member said, her voice shaking. We have a problem. What is it? We can't move. The engines are online. Power is good. But we're not moving. Something is holding us in place. Court tried to stay calm. All ships report status. Every ship in the small fleet reported the same thing. They were stuck. Not damaged. Not attacked, just held. Like invisible hands had grabbed them and wouldn't let go. Zixara felt her hearts beating faster. No weapons detected? No weapons, no ships. No energy signatures. We're just stuck. Then every communication system on every ship activated at once. A voice came through speaking perfect galactic standard. The accent was strange, old-fashioned, like someone learning the language from ancient textbooks. Welcome, travelers. We've been expecting visitors eventually. Please do not be alarmed. You are not in danger. We simply prefer to talk before you get too close. Silence on the bridge. Everyone stared at the communication console. Court found his voice first. This is Admiral Court of the Galactic Council Fleet. Who are you? We are humanity. We are Earth. We are the ones you came looking for. You're holding our ships. Yes. Gently. As I said, we prefer to talk first. You're not prisoners. You're guests, though perhaps unexpected guests who arrived without calling ahead. The voice had humor in it. Zixara couldn't believe it. They were trapped by an invisible force, and the voice sounded amused. We mean no harm, Court said. We came to observe only. We wanted to understand why extinct civilizations left warnings about your world. Ah. So you found the warnings? Good. We left those warnings for a reason. To give future civilizations a choice. A choice? Yes. The choice to approach us with curiosity instead of conquest. You chose curiosity. That's why you're alive and talking to us. Something appeared on the sensors. A ship. But it didn't look like any ship Zixara had ever seen. It seemed to be there and not there at the same time. Her instruments showed it in 5 different positions at once, like it existed in multiple realities simultaneously. The ship came closer. It was small, maybe the size of a shuttle. It stopped near Court's flagship. We're coming aboard, the voice said. Please prepare to receive us. And please try not to be too afraid. We've been told we can be unsettling. To first-time visitors, a docking tube extended from the human ship. Court looked at Zixara. She looked back at him. Neither of them knew what to say. Finally, Court nodded. Let them board. The docking doors opened. 3 humans walked through. They looked almost harmless. 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 head. They wore simple clothes that looked comfortable. 2 men and 1 woman. They smiled, showing teeth, but something about them was wrong. Zixara couldn't explain it. They moved too smoothly. Their eyes were too aware. When they looked at you, you felt like they could see everything. Your thoughts, your fears, your secrets. I am Ambassador Chen, the woman said. These are my colleagues. Thank you for receiving us. Court stepped forward. He was twice her height and covered in armor. But somehow she seemed more dangerous. Why are you holding our ships? Because the last 47 probes that entered our system without permission were dismantled for study. We thought live visitors deserved better treatment. Besides, we have much to discuss. The extinct civilizations, Zixara said. What happened to them? Ambassador Chen's smile faded. That is a long and sad story. Perhaps we should sit down. This will take time. They moved to the conference room. The humans sat on one side of the table. The council delegation sat on the other. Sixara activated her recording device. Let me start with a question, Chen said. What do you think happened to those extinct races? We don't know, Court said. That's why we're here. They died because they made a mistake. They saw primitive humans on Earth and decided we would be easy to conquer, or enslave, or exterminate. They were wrong. You killed them, Sixara said softly. We defended ourselves. There's a difference. We didn't hunt them. We didn't chase them across the galaxy. We simply made sure they could never threaten us or anyone else again. All of them? Every single extinct race came to conquer you? Chen nodded. Everyone. For 3 million years, aggressive species have found Earth. And for 3 million years, we've survived. We don't start fights, but we've never lost one. Court leaned forward. How? 600 years ago, you were barely spacefaring. How did you defeat civilizations with millions of years of advancement? Because 600 years ago wasn't when we started. That was just when we stopped pretending. Chen smiled again, and this time it was sad. We've been hiding our true nature for a very long time, watching, learning, waiting. Waiting for what? Sixara asked. Waiting to see if the galaxy could grow up. Waiting to see if a civilization would finally come to us with questions instead of weapons. You're the first in 150,000 years. The room was silent. Sixara felt cold. You've been testing us, all of us. Every civilization. Not testing, observing, hoping. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We don't want to conquer. We just want to live in peace. But peace requires strength, and sometimes strength requires consequences. You're going to show us what happened, aren't you? Court said, yes, you came for truth. We'll give you truth, all of it. But I warn you, once you see what we're going to show you, you can't unsee it. You'll understand why the galaxy fears us, and you'll have to decide what to do with that knowledge. Chen stood up. Follow us. We're going to Earth. We're going to show you the archive. The human ship released Court's fleet from whatever held them. The invisible force simply vanished like it was never there. But now the ships followed the humans voluntarily, moving deeper into the Sol system. Sixara watched through the view screen as they passed Mars, then entered the space around Earth. She expected to see cities, ships, stations, signs of civilization. Instead, Earth looked empty, peaceful. Blue oceans and green continents covered in white clouds. Beautiful and quiet. Where is everything? She asked Ambassador Chen, who stood beside her on the bridge. Everything is here. You just can't see it. We've learned to be subtle. Chen pointed at the moon. There are 3 million people living on Luna. Can you detect them? The sensor officer shook his head. Nothing. No heat signatures. No structures, nothing. Exactly. We build our cities underground now. In the ocean depths. Inside hollowed asteroids. We learned long ago that being obvious makes you a target. Being invisible keeps you safe. The fleet moved into orbit around Earth. A section of the planet's surface opened up, mountains sliding apart like doors. Inside was a massive hangar, big enough for all 5 ships. Please land your vessels, Chen said. What you're about to see cannot be shown through screens or holograms. You need to experience it directly. Court gave the order. The ships descended into the hangar. As they landed, Sixara saw humans working below. Thousands of them, moving between machines and vehicles that defied her understanding. Some of the technology looked familiar. Most of it looked impossible. They disembarked in a large chamber carved from solid rock. The walls were smooth and covered in symbols that seemed to shift when you weren't looking directly at them. Welcome to Earth, Chen said. You're currently 3 kilometers under the Himalayan mountain range. This facility is called the Archive of Rendered Judgments. It contains the complete history of every species that threatened our world. Everything they were, everything they did, and everything we did in response. Sixara felt sick to her stomach. You keep records of the species you destroyed? We keep records so we never forget the cost of violence. So we remember why we fight, and so we can show people like you the truth. They walked through corridors carved from living rock. Other humans passed them, nodding politely. Some looked curious. None looked surprised. It was like they had aliens visiting every day. How many humans are there? Court asked. Currently, about 15 billion. Most live on Earth. Some on colonies throughout the solar system. A few on outposts beyond. 15 billion. Court's plates rattled in surprise. Our estimates said Earth could only support 2 billion at most. Your estimates were based on surface observations. We've had 3 million years to learn efficient living. We can support 50 billion comfortably if needed. 3 million years. Chen kept saying that number. Zixara had to ask. You said 3 million years. But humans only evolved recently. 200,000 years ago, maybe less. Chen stopped walking and turned to face them. Her expression was serious. That's what your scientists believe, yes. They're wrong. Humans have been on Earth for 3 million years. We were placed here. Placed by who? By a race so old they don't have a name anymore. They're gone now, ascended or dead, we're not sure which. But before they left, they created us. Gave us a purpose. What purpose? To be gardeners. To watch over younger species. To protect. To guide when necessary. To prune when absolutely required. The words hit Zixara like a physical blow. You're saying humans are, what, guardians? Keepers of the galaxy? In a way. Though we prefer to stay hidden. Gardens grow better when the gardener isn't casting shadows over everything. They entered a massive circular chamber. The walls were lined with crystalline structures that glowed with internal light. Each structure contained data, memories, entire civilizations compressed into storage. The archive, Chen said softly. Every species that threatened Earth is here. Their history, their culture, their final moments. We preserve them because forgetting the dead dishonors their memory, even if they were our enemies. She walked to one of the crystals. It lit up at her touch. An image appeared in the air. A holographic display showing a species Zixara didn't recognize. They were insect-like with multiple limbs and compound eyes. The Kixtal Empire, Chen said. 2 million years ago they arrived at Earth with planet-cracking weapons. They intended to harvest our world's core for raw materials. They scanned us. They saw primitive humans living in tribes. They thought we were animals. They were wrong. The hologram changed. It showed Kixtal warships entering the solar system. Hundreds of them, dark and menacing. Then it showed what happened next. Human ships appeared. But they didn't attack. Instead, they simply took control. Every Kixtal computer system, every weapon, every life support module. All of it suddenly obeyed human commands instead of Kixtal ones. We infiltrated their networks in 3 hours, Chen explained. Took control of their ships in 6. Within 72 hours, we controlled every piece of Kixtal technology in their entire empire. We didn't destroy them. We just turned everything off. The hologram showed Kixtal worlds going dark, not exploding, not burning, just shutting down, like someone had flipped a switch. Their civilization collapsed in silence, Chen continued. No violence. No bloodshed. We simply removed their ability to threaten anyone. The Kixtal survivors exist today as pre-industrial societies on their homeworlds. They've forgotten they once ruled the stars. Court's voice was shaky. You lobotomized an entire civilization. We removed their weapons and their aggression. They're still alive. Still growing. Still learning. Just peacefully now, Chen moved to another crystal. This one showed creatures made of light and sound. The harmonics. 800,000 years ago, the harmonics came as genetic engineers. They saw humans as raw material for their experiments. They wanted to improve us, make us better, make us theirs. The hologram showed harmonics descending on Earth. They took humans, modified them, changed their DNA, tried to turn them into something else. We let them, Chen said quietly. We allowed ourselves to be captured, to be changed, and then we used their modifications against them. We rewrote the harmonics from the inside out, changed their biology, their thought patterns, their very nature. The hologram showed something horrifying. The harmonics began to change, to become more solid, more physical, more human. Within 3 generations, the harmonics were no longer the harmonics. They were human. They're still alive today, billions of them living on Earth. They don't remember being anything else. Zixara couldn't speak. The horror of it was overwhelming. Entire species erased or absorbed or shut down. And humanity did it all so calmly, so efficiently. Chen moved to a 3rd crystal. The Vren Collective. 150,000 years ago. They came as conquerors. They didn't want our resources or our genes. They wanted our submission. They wanted slaves. The hologram showed massive Vren warships, dark and brutal. They approached Mars, preparing to invade. They never made it. The hologram showed weapons that made Zixara's mind hurt to watch. Stars flickered. Reality bent. The Vren ship simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, not scattered, just gone, erased from space and time. We demonstrated what we could do, Chen said. Showed them weapons that could unmake matter, could edit reality, could make entire species forget they ever existed. The Vren ran. They left the galaxy entirely. As far as we know, they're still running. Court finally found his voice. Why are you showing us this? Why not just kill us and add us to your collection? Chen turned to face them. Her eyes were sad. Because you came to learn, not to threaten. In 3 million years, you're the first civilization to approach us with curiosity instead of weapons. That matters. That changes everything. So we get to live because we asked questions? You get to live because you showed that the galaxy might finally be ready. Ready to grow up. Ready to take responsibility. Ready to understand what we've been doing all this time. And what have you been doing? Zixara asked. Chen smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. Protecting you. All of you. Every species in this galaxy. From things that would horrify you. From threats beyond the galactic rim that you don't even know exist. She activated another display. This one showed the edge of the galaxy. And beyond it, in the darkness between galaxies, things moved. Massive things. Impossible things. Things that made Zixara's instincts scream at her to run. We don't just garden the galaxy, Chen said quietly. We guard it. We've been fighting a war for 3 million years that no one else knows about. Keeping things out. Keeping you safe. And we're tired. Tired? Court asked. Yes, tired of being alone. Tired of carrying the burden by ourselves. Tired of pretending to sleep while we watch the darkness. Chen looked at them both. We're ready to share the truth. Ready to ask for help. The question is, are you ready to help us? Chen led them deeper into the archive. The corridors seemed to stretch forever. Lined with crystals containing the memories of dead civilizations. Zixara tried to count them but stopped when she reached 100. There were thousands more. How many? She asked quietly. How many species have you dealt with? 372, Chen answered without hesitation. Over 3 million years. That's one extinction every 8,000 years on average. Some centuries pass with peace. Others bring multiple threats. They entered a smaller chamber. This one had only a dozen crystals, but they pulsed with brighter light than the others. These are special, Chen said. These are the ones that made us question everything. The ones that almost made us give up. She touched a crystal. The hologram showed beings made of pure energy, beautiful and terrible at once. The luminous ascendancy, 1 million years ago. They were explorers, scientists, philosophers. They came to Earth seeking knowledge, not conquest. We welcomed them. Shared our history. Our technology, our culture. Zixara felt hope rise in her chest. They were friends? For 3 years, yes. We thought we'd finally found peers. Species we could walk beside instead of hiding from. Chen's voice grew heavy. Then we discovered the truth. They were studying us to find our weaknesses. They planned to upload our consciousness into their network. They wanted to make us part of themselves. They thought it was a gift. The hologram showed the moment of betrayal. Luminous ships surrounding Earth, beams of light descending, trying to capture human minds. We fought back. But this time it hurt. They were our friends. Or we thought they were. The hologram showed human weapons activating. The luminous ships dissolving. We absorbed their technology. Learned from their science. But we never trusted that easily again. Court watched the display with horror. You've been alone for 1 million years because of one betrayal? Not alone, isolated. There's a difference. We had each other, and we had hope that someday someone would prove us wrong about the galaxy. Chen looked at them. Maybe you're that someone. She moved to another crystal. This one showed species that looked almost human. 2 arms, 2 legs, faces with expressions. The kindred. 600,000 years ago, they were so similar to us that we wondered if we shared common ancestors. They came with gifts, food, medicine, technology. They wanted to establish trade. Cultural exchange, peace. What went wrong? Zixara asked, though she dreaded the answer. Nothing. For 50 years. We built cities together, shared meals, learned each other's languages. Human children played with kindred children. We thought we'd found family. Chen's hand shook slightly as she touched the crystal. Then their real mission arrived. Colony ships. Millions of them. They'd been using those 50 years to study our defenses, our culture, our weaknesses. They planned to replace us, slowly, peacefully. Just move in and outnumber us until Earth was theirs. The hologram showed human faces realizing the betrayal. Shock, hurt, anger. What did you do? Cord asked. We made them forget. Every kindred in the galaxy. We released a quantum virus that rewrote their genetic memory. They forgot Earth existed. They forgot their mission. They forgot the 50 years we spent together. The kindred still exist out there somewhere, but they have no memory of us. Zixara felt tears forming in her eyes. She didn't cry often, but this was too much. You erased yourself from their history. We erased their betrayal from ours. It was the kindest solution we could find. They're alive, happy, they just don't remember breaking our hearts. Chen moved to the largest crystal in the room. It pulsed with a dark red light, the harvesters, 150,000 years ago. This was the closest we came to losing. The hologram showed machines, endless swarms of self-replicating machines that consumed everything in their path. Planets, stars, life itself. They weren't alive in any way we understood. They were just hungry. They'd already consumed 3 galaxies before they found ours. When they reached Earth, we barely stopped them. The hologram showed a war that lasted decades. Human ships fighting machine swarms. Weapons that turned matter into energy. Energy into nothing. Entire solar systems used as ammunition. We stopped them 3 light years from Earth, destroyed every single machine. 14 billion humans died in that war. It was the only time we've taken casualties on that scale. Chen's voice was barely a whisper. We learned from that. We built the defense grid. The structures beyond the galactic rim. We made sure nothing like the harvesters could ever surprise us again. Court straightened. The structures beyond the rim. We've detected them. We thought they were natural phenomena. They're not natural. They're weapons, sensors, barriers. We built them to protect the galaxy from external threats. Every species in this galaxy lives safely because of those structures. And none of you knew. Why didn't you tell us? Zixara demanded. Why keep it secret? Would you have believed us? Would you have trusted us? Or would you have seen us as a threat? Chen shook her head. We learned long ago that being honest about our capabilities just makes people afraid. Fear leads to aggression. Aggression leads to conflict. So we stay quiet. We stay hidden. We do the work without asking for recognition. She deactivated the holograms. The chamber returned to its normal light. But we're tired of secrets, tired of being alone. That's why we're showing you this. Because you deserve to know the truth. And because we need help. Help with what? Court asked. Chen led them to one final chamber. This one had no crystals. Instead, the walls showed live feeds, images from sensors beyond the galactic rim. And in those images, things moved in the darkness, shapes that hurt to look at, forms that defied geometry, entities that radiated malevolence. They're coming, Chen said simply. More harvesters. Different ones. Worse ones. They'll be here in 5,000 years, maybe less. We can fight them. We probably can win. But we can't protect the entire galaxy alone anymore. We need allies. We need partners. We need the galaxy to grow up and help us defend itself. Zixara stared at the feeds. Fear gripped her hearts. 5,000 years. That's so soon. In galactic terms, it's tomorrow. We've been preparing for centuries. Building weapons. Training soldiers. Fortifying defenses. But there's only so much we can do alone. Court moved closer to the feeds. His military training took over. What do you need from us? We need you to go back to the Galactic Council. Tell them everything you've seen. Convince them that humanity isn't a threat, we're protectors. And we need them to start preparing for war. They won't believe us, Court said. They'll think we're insane or that you manipulated us. Then we'll give you proof. Technology, demonstrations, whatever it takes. But time is running out and we can't waste centuries trying to convince people we mean well. Chen turned to face them fully. We're offering the galaxy a choice. Join us. Help us defend against what's coming. Share the burden of protection, or... She paused. Or we continue as we have. Silent, hidden, alone. We'll fight the war ourselves. And most of the galaxy will never know how close they came to extinction. That's not really a choice, Zixara said. Yes, it is. It's the choice between growing up or staying children. Between taking responsibility or letting others carry your weight. Between being partners or being protected. Chen's eyes were intense. We don't want to rule you. We don't want to control you. We want to stand beside you as equals. But equality means sharing both the benefits and the burdens. Court was quiet for a long moment. If we convince the council, if they agree to join you, what then? Then we start preparing. We share our technology. We train your militaries. We build defenses together, and when the enemy arrives, we face them as one galaxy, not as humans protecting everyone else. And if the Council refuses, Chen smiled sadly, then we respect their choice. We return to the shadows. We fight the war alone, and the galaxy goes on, never knowing how close they came to extinction. We've been doing this for 3 million years. We can do it for 3 million more if we must. That's not fair, Zixara said. You shouldn't have to sacrifice everything while we live in ignorance. Life isn't fair, but it's precious, worth protecting, even if those we protect don't understand what we're protecting them from. Chen placed a hand on Zixara's shoulder. That's what it means to be a gardener. You do the work because the garden matters, not because you'll be thanked. Court made his decision. We'll convince them somehow. The Council needs to know. Good. Then let's get you back to your ships. You have a long journey ahead, and we've given you enough nightmares for one visit. As they walked back through the corridors, Zixara looked at the crystals containing extinct civilizations. All those species gone or changed. All those threats stopped by humanity, and the galaxy never knew. Ambassador Chen, she said quietly. Thank you for protecting us. For all this time. Chen stopped walking. For the first time, she looked vulnerable. You're the first person to say that in 800,000 years. The Luminous thanked us once before the betrayal. Since then, everyone we dealt with came as enemies. Well, we're not enemies. No, you're not. And that gives me hope. Chen smiled, and this time it was genuine. Maybe the galaxy really is ready to grow up. The journey back to the Council station took 3 weeks. Zixara and Court spent every day preparing their testimony. They reviewed recordings, organized data, practiced their presentation, but they both knew that no amount of preparation would make this easy. They're going to think we've lost our minds, Court said on the final day before arrival, or that Earth brainwashed us somehow. Probably both, Zixara agreed. She looked at the data crystal Chen had given them before they left. It contained proof, technology schematics, sensor readings, historical records, evidence that humanity was telling the truth. But we have proof. That has to count for something. The ships docked at the Council station. Word had already spread that they were coming back. The Council chamber was more crowded than Zixara had ever seen it. Representatives from every major civilization had come to hear their report. Some looked curious. Most looked skeptical. The Council speaker called the session to order. Admiral Court, Dr. Zixara, please present your findings regarding the Sol system and Earth. Court stood first. His military bearing made him look confident, but Zixara could see his hands shaking slightly. Honored Council, what we discovered challenges everything we thought we knew about Earth and humanity. I request that you listen to our full testimony before passing judgment. Proceed, the speaker said. For 2 hours, they presented everything. The archive, the extinct civilizations, the weapons, the betrayals, the defense grid beyond the galactic rim, the approaching threat. The chamber was silent when they finished. Then chaos erupted. Impossible, someone shouted. Humans are primitive. It's a trick, another voice called. They've been manipulated. This is propaganda to justify Earth's isolation. The speaker called for order. It took several minutes for the noise to die down. These are serious claims, the speaker said carefully. Claims that, if true, would fundamentally change our understanding of galactic history. What proof do you offer? Zixara activated the data crystal. Holograms filled the chamber. Technology that defied known physics. Sensor readings from the defense grid. Time-stamped records showing human activity spanning 3 million years. The argument started again. Some called it fabricated. Others demanded independent verification. A few representatives sat quietly, studying the data with growing concern. Then Ambassador Chen's face appeared on every screen in the chamber. Every communication system activated simultaneously, just like before. But this time it wasn't just the Council station. The transmission was going out across the entire galaxy. Greetings, Chen said. I am Ambassador Chen speaking on behalf of humanity. I apologize for interrupting, but time is short, and the galaxy deserves to hear this directly. The chamber fell silent. Across the galaxy, billions of beings stopped what they were doing to watch. For 3 million years, we've remained hidden. We've watched civilizations rise and fall. We've protected the galaxy from threats you never knew existed. We've done this alone in silence. because we believed the galaxy wasn't ready for the truth. Chen's image changed to show the defense grid, the massive structures beyond the galactic rim, holding back the darkness. These are our defenses. We built them to protect everyone. Every species in this galaxy lives because these structures keep the predators out. You've lived in peace, never knowing how much danger surrounds you. The image changed again, this time showing the approaching threat. The things moving in the void between galaxies. Some council members cried out. Others turned away, unable to look. They're coming. New harvesters. Worse than before. They'll be here in 5,000 years. We can fight them. We probably can win. But we can't protect every world, every species, every life alone. We need help. Chen's face returned to the screens. We're offering the galaxy a choice. Not an ultimatum. Not a demand, a choice. Join us in the defense of our shared home. Take responsibility for your own survival. Become partners in protecting the galaxy. Or we continue as we have. Silent guardians in the shadows. She paused, letting her words sink in. But understand this. We're not asking you to worship us. We're not demanding obedience. We're tired. We've carried this burden for 3 million years and we want to share it. We want partners, not subjects. Equals, not servants. The question is, are you ready to stop being children and become adults? The transmission showed images of human cities. Millions of people living normal lives. Children playing. Families together. Scientists working. Artists creating. We're not monsters. We're not gods. We're just people who were given a responsibility we never asked for. We've done our best. We've made mistakes. We've been betrayed. We've lost friends. But we've never given up on protecting life. All life, including yours. Chen's expression softened. The galaxy has a choice. You can join us in preparing for what's coming. We'll share our technology, our knowledge, our experience. We'll stand together against the darkness, or you can choose to remain as you are, and we'll respect that choice. We'll continue protecting you, and you'll never have to know what we fight. She leaned forward, looking directly into the camera. But I hope you choose differently. I hope you choose courage over fear, partnership over protection, because the galaxy is beautiful and it's worth fighting for together. The transmission ended. The screens went dark. The chamber was absolutely silent. Then one representative stood. Then another. Then dozens. Within minutes, half the chamber was standing. Not in fear. Not in anger. In respect. The speaker's voice was shaky. We need to vote on how to proceed. Wait, a voice called out. It was the representative from the Korthan Empire, the same one who had laughed at Zixara's initial presentation. Before we vote, I have a question for Admiral Court. Do you trust them? Court didn't hesitate. Yes, I've seen what they've done. What they've sacrificed. They could have destroyed us. They could have conquered the galaxy 1,000,000 years ago. But they didn't. They chose to protect instead of dominate. Yes, I trust them. Dr. Zixara, another representative asked. As a scientist, do you believe their evidence is genuine? I've verified everything they showed us. The data is real. The threat is real. And humanity's protection of us is real. We've been living in a garden without knowing who tended it. The speaker called for the vote. All in favor of accepting Earth's partnership and preparing for the approaching threat? Hands rose. Appendages lifted. Lights flickered. The count took several minutes. When it was done, the result was clear. 87% in favor. The speaker's voice carried across the galaxy. By the authority of the Galactic Council, we accept humanity's offer. We hereby establish the Garden Protocol. Earth will no longer be isolated. Humanity will share their knowledge and technology. In return, we will work together to defend our galaxy against all threats. Cheers erupted in the chamber. But Zixara noticed something. Not everyone was cheering. Some representatives looked angry, scared, resentful. She made a note to watch them carefully. Not everyone would accept humanity's revelations peacefully. Over the following months, everything changed. Human ships appeared at major worlds bringing technology and teachers. Defensive stations were built. Militaries were trained. Scientists collaborated on projects that seemed like magic. Zixara was assigned as the primary liaison between humanity and the Council. She worked with Chen almost every day, learning about human culture, history, and philosophy. You know, Zixara said one day as they reviewed defense plans. Some species are resentful. They don't like learning they were protected without their knowledge. I know, Chen said quietly. Pride is a powerful thing. Some would rather die free than live protected. We understand that. It's why we gave them a choice. What if they choose to fight you instead of the harvesters? Then we'll defend ourselves. But we won't strike first. We never do. Zixara looked at the star charts showing the approaching threat. 5,000 years seemed like a long time, but it also seemed far too short. Do you think we'll be ready? She asked. I think we'll try. And sometimes trying is enough. Chen smiled. Besides, you'd be surprised what people can accomplish when they work together. We've had 3 million years of practice. You're fast learners. Together, we might just stand a chance. Months turned into years. The preparations continued. But something else happened that Chen hadn't expected. Other species began contributing ideas, techniques, perspectives that humanity had never considered. The Velnari, Zixara's people, were experts in archaeology. They discovered ancient defensive technologies and ruins that even humanity had missed. The Kathresh provided military strategies that complemented human tactics. The gas cloud species offered insights into energy manipulation that revolutionized weapon design. Humanity had been alone for so long, they'd forgotten the value of diverse thinking. The galaxy, working together, was accomplishing more than humanity had alone. Chen stood on a human orbital station, watching construction of the new defense platforms. Zixara joined her at the viewport. Thank you, Chen said suddenly. For what? For proving us wrong. For 3 million years, every species that found us either tried to destroy us or betrayed us. We thought that was just how the galaxy worked. But you proved that cooperation is possible. That trust can exist. You're the ones who took the risk, Zixara pointed out. You revealed yourselves. That took courage. Or desperation. Chen laughed softly.